buddy Isaac Rosenthal flying solo today. The final home friendly of the season for Lane United. Obviously a very different atmosphere than when we saw you last. That great 1-1 draw with Calgary just a couple of days ago, but a slightly different opponent tonight for Lane United. Berliner Weisse FC, it is a group of 19 local players. It includes some former Lane United names, some potential future Lane United names, some last names you might recognize, and hell, it includes a current Lane United player. Jacob Scorsese will get the start in goal for Berliner Weisse, and that will leave Lane United without a backup goalkeeper for themselves on the bench. We don't know what the starting lineup will look like for Berliner Weisse, but we do for Lane United, so let's run down those names now. Ben Willis, as we said, gets the start in goal, and then in defense, Mitch Legros, Peter Prescott, Dion Cox, Jacob Thielke, Matthias Binder, Rafa Llamas, Isma Fernandez, Hassani Dotson, Nick Moon, and Anthony Macchioni rounding out the starting 11 for John Gallis' squad. So it's a pretty interesting mix of names, really, that we've got filled out for Lane United. You have regular starters in there like Nick Moon and Isma Fernandez, and of course Ben Willis has been the backstop for Lane United these last couple of weeks with the departure of Simo Morales. But then you also have some names we haven't seen as often this season, like Dion Cox. Peter Prescott in his own right has been a starter the last few weeks, but it took him a while to work his way into the starting lineup. Jacob Thielke gets the start again, his second start also in a friendly previously on this season. And then we'll see guys like Hassani Dotson that we're used to seeing off of the bench. So a good group out there for Lane United, and then some other names on the bench, a similar mix of starters and more bench regular reserves that are available for as substitutes today. Kyle Smith, John Stadler, Sam Buzas, Joe Corner, Hernan Ramos, and Joel Reedstrand are the available substitutions tonight, and we would expect to see just about everybody. I will now take a quick break while we see if we can figure out a lineup for our visitors, but don't you go anywhere.
Good. You what? Not too hot tonight. I would think if you have good.
Are coached by Zach Sardar. And now the starting lineup for Lane United FC. Number 1, goalkeeper, Ben Willis. Number 4, defender, Mitchell Legros. Number 2, defender, Peter Prescott. Number 6, defender, Dion Cox. Number 43, defender, Jacob Thielke. Number 8, midfielder, Matthias Binder. Number 22, midfielder, Rafael Llamas. Number 7, midfielder, Isma Fernandez. Number 31, midfielder, Hassani Dotson. Number 24, forward, Nick Moon. 17, forward, Anthony Macchione. Lane United FC are coached by John Gallis, assisted by Connor Capoletti and Armando Theo. The center referee for today's match is Jason Furlowitz. He is assisted by Steve Bailey and Corbin May. The fourth official is Patrick Bowman. Now, please stand and remove your hats to the flag.
I'm like, I get it, I'm sorry.
And back now after the anthems, we've been able to find a starting lineup for our visitors, so let's run down those names. The Lane United backup himself, Jacob Scorsese in goal, and then a former Lane United product starts out the 10 outfield players. That's Dion Jones. He's joined by Alex Engstrom. He'll wear number 4. Dion Jones going to be wearing 2. Cody Walkup will be wearing number 5. Ryan Trutner will wear the 7. 10 is Chris Mackey, 11 is Colin Chubfertal, and that name should sound familiar to you, the last name anyway. Sam Valenzuela going to be wearing 14, Omar Jimenez, number 15, and Gio Bricola, number 17, rounding out the starting lineup for Berliner Weisse. They are coached by Zach Lazar, who you may see come in as a substitute in this game. Not every day we get to drop the player coach on you. And the starters again for Lane United: Willis, LeGros, Prescott, Cox, Thielke, Binder, Llamas, Fernandez, Dotson, Moon, and Macchione. So from the looks of it, John Gallus will go back to that 3-man back line and wing back formation that we've seen a lot these last couple of weeks. But as we know, that doesn't mean that what it looks like to start doesn't mean it's going to look like that to finish. And maybe entirely different when the subs get themselves worked in. So really just a celebration of local soccer. Lane United try to do one or so of these games every year. They'll have a couple of friendlies. One of them is typically against a local team or sometimes a group of local all-stars. They've played all-stars from Liga Unida before. And here we have just a sort of generic group out there. Some, as we said, some Lane United alum in Dion Jones, some potential future players. Should be a great day for soccer in the community, and that's really, at the end of the day, that's what this program and this process is all about. So Reds will get us started. Just waiting on the whistle from the referee. And there's the whistle. There is us off. Macchione to Moon and then all the way back to Binder. Now the back line is, we'll slowly get ourselves started here. Matthias Binder wide for Dion Cox. Forward for Llamas, and Llamas back to Dion Cox. Poked forward by Hassani Dotson, but didn't get farther than Sam Valenzuela. No real possession coming out of it for Berliner Weisse, though. Now a a chance for them. Hold on to the ball and played in toward the box. Jacob Thielke, confident head down for it. And Hassani Dotson has a little trouble, but able to keep with that ball. Nick Moon now wide for Yamas, the first chance of a Lane United attack, and it got by Rafa Yamas into touch. At the back line. Walk up, played it to his fullback, and now back Jacob Scorsese. Matthias Binder pressuring there, but good job by this Berliner Weisse team of holding on to the ball a little bit, and then a long ball played forward by Dion Cox. Or excuse me, on the opposite side. Also a Dion Jones played that ball forward before the Reds take it back. Now Jacob Thielke just does keep that ball alive. I think some of the players may have thought that went out into touch. A couple of people stopped just for half a second. And now foul goes against Berliner Weisse and a quick restart. Binder gets back to that one. He could have his command of the midfield today, Matthias Binder. Forward Isma Fernandez with the touch and just not quite on the same page as Nick Moon, but ball falls back to Matthias Binder and the Reds able to get set up in the shape of their attack now. Mitch LeGros back for Prescott. There's no Akeem Ward available tonight for Lane United. No John Stadler in the starting lineup. And we've seen those two. You heard my partner Iñaki reference this a couple of times in our last game. Stadler and Ward have played just about every minute for Lane United this season. Here's a chance for Isma Fernandez chipping it, and good job to stay on his line there by Scorsese. Isma Fernandez, a popular choice to score tonight for the Reds. There are certainly goals in this team. There have been goals in this team in the friendly competitions. 4 goals, more or less the average in friendly competition for Lane United this season, but it's actually not their high watermark on the year. That was the 7-1 demolition of Victoria. When they get it going, they really get it going. Here's Nick Moon, and that was easy for Moon, flipping it forward for Macchione. Macchione on the ball. He takes a shot and may have taken a deflection. Indeed, it did. Corner coming up for Lane United, their first set piece. Not quite 4 minutes into this game, and I think through the 4 minutes, it's been about what we would have expected to see so far. Matthias Binder will get us going with the corner for Lane United, and he plays it short for Isma. The short corners have been a favorite of these Reds. Thielke with a cross, trying to find Dion Cox, and Scorsese able to pluck it out of the air. That last sequence, the first real attack of the day so far for the Reds. Scorsese out of his box to play it forward for walk-up, and then walk-up back for Jimenez, and made a meal of it. Here's Yamas forward and trying to connect with Nick Moon, trying to get it back to Rafa Yamas. Unable to connect. Punted forward from Scorsese, no farther than Binder, and Binder digs in there to get that ball back. Lost it again. Now Fernandez. Nick Moon. Tapped back by Macchione for Nick Moon again, and now wide for Jacob Thielke. Overlapping behind him was Mitch LeGros. Thielke going to hold on to it, though. Top of the box. Thielke's still trying to get after it, but Ball poked away from him and taken right back by Jacob. LeGros to Nick Moon. Moon will sort of drift back. Rafa Llamas back to Matthias Binder. And now Jacob Thielke. Thielke played all 90 minutes, one of the friendlies earlier this season. And he has the ball again from LeGros. Quick touch for Binder, back to Mitch LeGros, and then switching to the opposite channel for Dion Cox. Rafa Llamas. Quick touch from Macchione, back towards Hassani Dotson. And Thielke standing in a bunch of space. Binder's going to try and find him and does. Inch perfect on that ball for Jacob Thielke. Now Nick Moon. Back to goal. Got it back to Mitch LeGros. Now back for Nick Moon. Combining. Moon with the pass across. Tapped in front. Easy finish, Macchione. Looked for a moment like it was going to be Nick Moon's goal, and then he played the unselfish pass across to the middle, and a couple of Reds standing right in front of it. In the end, it was Macchione putting it over. 1-0 in the 7th minute.
Keep it.
So, as we said, Macchione the goal scorer, 7 minutes in, and 1-0 to the Reds. They've had the ball for most of the match. Nothing resembling a shot yet for Berliner Weisse, but they've had one particularly strong spell of possession early. Now they're just having to play with it in their own half, trying to pull Lane United enough out of possession that they can take a turn up the pitch themselves. Proving easier said than done. And now just on the ball, trying to go 1v1 was Ryan Trutner, and against this level of competition, that's probably not going to be his best option. Isma Fernandez playing it wide for Thielke. Isma wearing the captain's armband today in Stadler's absence. And Dion Jones for Berliner Weisse. Jones knows a thing or two about playing at this level, but that pass got the better of him. Nick Moon tried to slide it wide for Isma, taken back momentarily by Berliner Weisse, but then only got as far as Matthias Binder before it comes back for the Reds, who play wide for Thielke again, and now back to LeGros. Reds having an easy time of possession through 9 minutes. Nick Moon forward for LeGros, and there's your center back venturing toward the 6-yard box 9 minutes into the game. Not an everyday occurrence as LeGros takes the long run back to his side of the field. To be fair, the Reds are playing 3 center backs against competition that hasn't had too much of the ball, so plenty of opportunity for LeGros and for Dion Cox to make runs when they get the opportunity. Haven't seen it yet from Peter Prescott, but I imagine he's got the chance as well if he likes it. Binder back for Dion Cox. Jacob Thielke. Thielke was defended there by Colin Shubfertal, Casey's little brother. Another South Eugene product and perhaps a future Red in his own right. Dion Jones tries to play that forward, and Jacob Thielke did a good job of taking it off of the foot of his man as soon as the pass was played. Peter Prescott's ball wide for Rafa Llamas. Now to Isma Fernandez, who will switch it for Mitch LeGros in a bunch of space. LeGros playing the long ball for Thielke. Thielke gonna go on the long sprint forward, and Dion Jones, good job there to use his body, got in front of Thielke, and the ball will go out harmlessly for a goal kick. th minute of this celebration of Lane County soccer. The home team have the 1-0 lead, and Ben Willis is to work as hard as he's worked through these first 11 minutes, sprinting out to that one and pouncing on it just at the top of his own box. Fernandez for Macchione. Now slid forward and just not enough pace. Hermisma Fernandez to get past his man. Ball was also hit pretty hard. Jacob Thielke looking up, finding Nick Moon, and Hassani Dotson back to Mitch LeGros. Short pass to Thielke, right back to Mitch LeGros. Now Hassani Dotson combining with Isma Fernandez and getting it right back is Dotson, playing it for Matthias Binder. Binder's been the pivot point for Lane United tonight. Rafa Llamas kept alive Cox, and now it's Dion Cox's turn to drift forward from the back line. Whistle goes against Berliner Weisse. Don't expect there to be much officiating controversy at all in this kind of a game. Sometimes the only option is to grab a bit of jersey, though. LeGros for Dotson. Macchione, the goal scorer in this friendly so far, plays it for Thielke and then started to overlap behind him, but Jacob instead played it back for Mitch LeGros. Tried to slide that forward for Dotson, deflected into touch for a throw-in in minute number 13. Mitch LeGros back to Peter Prescott, who gets the touch. Hasn't had much to do tonight, Peter Prescott, playing in that central role of the three center backs. Jacob Thielke for Dotson. Dotson has it poked away. Macchione kept that one back alive for Isma Fernandez. Fernandez, little too much doing it himself. But as soon as Berliner Weisse push upfield, the Reds are there in position. They've got to go to the back. Into touch for a Reds throw on the far side, right in front of the Collegian sign. Anthony Macchione. Back for Llamas and now Isma Fernandez. Kept by Berliner Weisse. Looked like it could have gone out from this angle, but couldn't see. And now the foul goes against Lane United. I think it's their first foul of the night, 15 minutes in. To be fair, they haven't had to do much in the way of making tackles, but clean when they've had to. Ball played forward by Walkup, and now trying to run onto that one is Chubb for Tall, and Willis has to clear it out. Didn't get very far. Colin Chubb for Tall nearly got Berliner Weisse on the board there. Jacob Thielke wins that one. Now Nick Moon. Moon defended by Dion Jones. Back for Jacob Thielke. Man United just Passing it around their own half until they get the shape right. Now they'll look to push up the pitch through Isma Fernandez. Fernandez tried to play the through ball there for Macchioni, but the doors closed on him. Colin Shub for tall for Berliner Weisse. Jacob Thielke working on him. Overlapping behind him is Dion Jones, and knocked into touch by Lane United for a Berliner Weisse throw. Dion Cox in that Lane United legacy of speedy fullbacks. It's been the Akeem Ward program the last couple of years. But Dion Jones has a claim to that role as well. Jacob Thielke in possession now and looking up the pitch. Macchioni forward for Dotson. And Dotson calmly back to Mitch LeGros. Bender trying to play the long ball for Llamas there. Went wide, or went too far, but on the clearance back, it came back for Matthias. Now Peter Prescott. Dion Cox for Ispa, and then back to Peter Prescott. Mitch LeGros, the Reds lead this 1-0. In about 10 minutes since the goal from Anthony Macchioni. A tap in for number 17 to give the Reds the lead. Set up by the run into the box of Nick Moon. Little sloppy from the Reds, and that allows Berliner Weisse to take the ball back. Dion Jones now. Jones starting to get into the speed of the game a little bit more, as are all these Berliner Weisse players. Chris Mackey tried to poke that one forward. Now taken away by Lane United, a chance for the Reds to break on the counter. Nick Moon will now slow it down. Hassani Dotson for Llamas, and not on the same page with Macchioni, who never launched himself on the run there. Easily picked up by Scorsi in his own box. Playing it with his feet is Scorsi. Had plenty of time to do so. Now he's pressured by Macchioni. He does get it out wide to the far side. Chance of an attack for Berliner Weisse. Chubb for Tall out to Jones. Now Dion Jones, good ball to play centrally, and just not able to control it there, but that was a great chance for Gio Bergola. Not going to get too many of those against this Lane United squad. Matthias Binder's ball was too wide for Dotson, but in the end it just rolled to Nick Moon, and Reds with the ball just the same. Now Llamas with it. Llamas in possession. Wide for Nick Moon. Nick Moon's covered a lot of ground so far and plays a nice ball in that was deflected in the box by the Reds, but harmlessly wide of the cage. 20 minutes gone. 1-0 our score. Prescott turns that one around back for Ben Willis, who gets another touch. It'll be it's a challenge sometimes for the goalkeepers in friendlies like this when they're not tested to stay alert, stay focused. Willis has been equal to that test so far. And that space disappearing for Berliner Weisse pretty quickly in the middle of the park, but they're able to hold on to the ball, and they may get a chance on goal now. But that final pass proving too difficult. Anthony Macchioni on the wing. Back for Yamas and Binder. Long ball toward Thielke. It'll go over the head of Chubb Fertal and finds Jacob Thielke. He plays it for Mitch LeGros. Macchioni, Thielke, and back to Macchioni. LeGros into the box is Mitch LeGros. Tried to play that across and knocked away and controlled by Berliner Weisse. Momentarily, though, Matthias Binder, rather, got it back for Lane United. Now, Rafa Llamas combining with Nick Moon, and then Isma Fernandez had the ball, tried to tie it to a string, keep it on his foot, and it was eventually poked away from him. Now, whistle goes against Lane United and a restart for Berliner Weisse. 22nd minute. Approaching halfway through this first half. We've seen good possession and good passing from the Reds, but we haven't really seen them work it into the box too much outside of the goal. I think you'd like to maybe see just a bit more. Man, Berliner Weisse, for their own right, with every passing moment, they're getting a little bit more comfortable in the game. They look at times very much like a team that has not played together before, and for good reason. They are not an organic team. When we've seen that in the past, it can be one of the biggest difficulties for these local all-star groups is just to develop that identity. Jacob Thielke, good job to win the header. Isma Fernandez gets to the ball, defended then by Chubb Fertal, but played it wide. Hassani Dotson forward for Macchioni. Macchioni into the box, the shot saved Scorsese, but there's what we were asking for from Lane United. They work it into the box, they get the shot. Now Scorsese gets himself into a little bit of trouble. Rafa Llamas pressuring him. And it's going to cause a throw in for Lane United.
This guy there is this guy wearing the blue shirt.
Matthias Binder.
Like he was a sports writer.
And now Isma Fernandez. Combination in the middle. Just not quite enough space for it to come off. Colin Chubb Fertal combining with Dion Jones. Headed down towards Chubb Fertal. Thielke, though, good job to take it away and then keep it for Lane United as he finds Matthias Binder. Binder then, though, has tough options disappear for him pretty quickly. Chris Mackey pushing it up the pitch for Berliner Weisse, and Binder takes it right back. Prescott for Dotson. Dotson to Llamas. And still on it is Rafa Llamas, and I don't think he was on the same page as Nick Moon, but Moon able to win that ball back just the same, and then he couldn't push it wide for Thielke, and Berliner Weisse takes over. Hassani Dotson, good work to win that one for the Reds, and Dotson will now play it back for Dion Cox, and look out there. Nearly had his pocket picked by the player coach, Zach Lazar. Isma Fernandez chasing that one down, and it'll go off of Isma's foot. Deion Jones to throw in. It fell for Mitch LeGros, back to Moon, and then Isma Fernandez to Dotson, now Rafa Llamas. Llamas at the corner of the box. Macchione wrapping around behind him, and miscommunications again as Berliner Weisse takes it away, poked away there by Omar Jimenez, excuse me. And Binder for Lane United. Rafa Llamas back to Matthias Binder. And Isma Fernandez, long ball forward, tried to find Llamas. It was deflected into touch, though, by Berliner Weisse, so it'll be a Reds throw in. Macchione toward the back, and now Matthias Binder for Mitch LeGros. LeGros, it's still Mitch LeGros, and grabbing a handful of them was the defender for Berliner Weisse. Couple of options for the Reds on the goal, on the free kick rather. Looks like it's going to be Matthias Binder to pick his choice, and would think he's going to be playing across based on the way they're lined up, but he can go for goal from this distance as well. There's the whistle. Binder does go for goal, and little bit more bend on that, he would have scored. And speaking of scoring, Man United are going to take a 2-0 lead. Isma Fernandez had the takeaway, and second time that the player who set up the play worked his way into the 6-yard box and then just played it across. Isma gets the assist there instead of the goal. Rafa Llamas adds his name to the scoreboard in the 29th minute. So that's not going to help for Berliner Weisse to have a giveaway like that. Already a tall order for them to handle this Lane United squad. I'll get the throw, however. In front of the Reds bench, Nick Moon, and can he get around Scorsese now? From Macchione, 3-0. Now starting to pick up the scoring pace a little bit closer to what we thought we may see.
Fans, don't forget to stop by our food and coffee truck on the pavilion. Tonight's featured food truck is the Dumpling Group, and of course our favorite coffee truck, Most Water to Spice.
Officially, those goals coming in minutes 29 and 30. Back-to-back scoring, and brutally similar plays, really. '30th minute. And we're going to get substitution here. Chris Mackey exiting, and we'll wait to see the numbers as soon as we can for Berliner Weisse. We hesitate to say Mackey's day is done. We have seen re-entry at times in these friendlies.
Substitution.
Daniel Kruger is the man on to replace him.
Field, number 10, Chris Mackey. Entering the field, number 13, Daniel Kruger.
Mitch LeGros heads that one towards Willis. Chubb for Tall giving chase, but Ben Willis always favorite. easily gathers it. LeGros back to Willis. Now Binder. Forward from Macchione. Now Llamas for Isma Fernandez. Isma beats the goalkeeper and handball, I think, or a foul called there, and was a hand, and a red card comes out of the pocket, and I guess that's the rule, but the players from both teams, I believe, have just successfully lobbied for that to be turned into a yellow card. We've seen a lot of different things covering these games over the last few years. I don't think I've seen that one yet. The red card itself sent off. On second thought, it's a yellow card. And Isma Fernandez, I think, is going to take the penalty this time. And goal. 4-0, 33 minutes in, and the floodgates beginning to open. But at least we're still 11 v 11. Man United goals in the 29th, 30th, and 33rd minutes.
Go, Dion! You can do it!
And we'll see what the last 13 minutes. We've still got a lot of time left in this first half. It's a tough ask for these Berliner Weisse players, and it's not going to get any easier as the legs get heavier. Scorsi's giveaway for Macchione, and now a chance. Gio pushing forward. That was Gio Brigola for Berliner Weisse with a half chance. Nick Moon back for Llamas. Dotson. Llamas again. And now Hassani Dotson. Dotson for Nick Moon. Overlaps behind him again. And then the doors close on him, but he gets that ball right back for Land United. Binder back for Prescott, and now LeGros pushing wide, Thielke pushing forward. As from the far side, the Reds now work to the near side. LeGros ball forward for Macchione, perfectly weighted. But Macchione then couldn't make the next play. Jacob Thielke for the throw-in. Still kind of chuckling to myself over the booking on the PK. But that's what these games are about. I mean, these really are, that's the point, is to just have everyone get an opportunity to play on a big stage, celebrate the local talent that we've got on hand, and no one wants to see us sending off in a game like that. So good on the players for lobbying the referee, and good on the referee also, it has to be said, for listening to those requests and putting the red card back in his pocket, even in a friendly. Not a common sight to see a referee reverse his decision. Reds go over the back of Kruger there, so free kick for Berliner Weisse. 36th minute. Working now in the midfield, trying to press into the attacking third is Berliner Weisse, and little too fancy from Brigola there. Reds get the ball back. Dion Cox for Ben Willis, and Willis going for a run with it at his feet, and then just has to play it into touch. The throw in towards Chubb Fertal. Chubb Fertal has been very noticeable for Berliner Weisse in a lot of good spots when they've had good sequences. Jacob Thielke, long ball forward, excellently done. Now poking it forward for Isma Fernandez was Macchioni. Isma trying to play it back unselfishly to Macchioni, and that time cleared away. Could have been 4 very easily in the 37th minute. It's been all of 4 minutes since the Reds have last scored, and it seems like a long time compared to the little run that they went on. Again, 29th, 30th, and 33rd are goals 2, 3, and 4 for Land United. If you missed one of them, it stands to reason you probably missed 2 of them. Valenzuela did a good job to possess, but then didn't have an option to really play that pass. Now Isma Fernandez in the box, and shot deflected, and a corner, and Isma will go to take it in the 38th minute. Reds have played most of their corners short tonight. And I think this is actually going to be Binder's corner, but it may be a little bit of both, as Binder looks like one option he has is to play short for Isma. Instead, he plays it short for Llamas. Great ball across, but offside on Peter Prescott there. The center back with a rare opportunity to finish. He took his chance, but he was just a step offside. Now Colin Chubb Fertal. Chubb Fertal for Kruger, and chance disappears for Berliner Weisse. Nearly fell back to him. Binder just plops that one out to the wing, and Rafa Llamas onto it. Now back to Matthias Binder. Binder for Moon. Llamas and Moon combining, and Macchioni, good job of defending in his own right to get that one back for Rafa Llamas, who will now play it for Dotson, and then wide Legros through Isma. Jacob Thielke. Isma Fernandez trying to chip that one over the defender and back to himself. Nearly did. It's a tricky play to attempt even in a game like this. Colin Chubb Fertal lost it, taken away by Jacob Thielke. Thielke's cross in, and there's nobody there. Ryan Trutner got in front of it for Berliner Weisse. Dion Cox tracking back. Here's Brigola's ball. Tried to find Kruger, and the fire drill defense good enough from the Reds that time. The first danger that they've had, and Colin Chubb Fertal will win that free kick. Dion Jones will take it. 40th minute, just about 12-15 yards in front of the midfield stripe. And finding Chubb Fertal in a lot of space. Chubb Fertal in the box. Tries to clear, and it just hits Thielke. Thielke now working on D, and that one came up for a bounce, and a lot of calls for a handball, but not from the referee.
Better window than the door.
Hassani Dotson gets to that one, and now he just plays it back calmly for Deion Cox in the 41st minute. Had a great little 25 minute chunk of play between the first and the second goals from Berliner Weisse, but outside of that, it's been all Land United. What you'd expect. They're the ones in the PDL. Now here's Isma Fernandez. Fernandez with the shot, and you give Isma space, and he's going to take the shot. That time a little bit high and wide, but he's still got to be on your list of likely goal scorers for Lane United. Jump for Tall. Good job to hold it, protect it out of from Matthias Binder, and then he plays it to Lazar, then played wide. Now a lot of speed from Berliner Weisse, and not a lot of coordination to it. Ryan Trutner did a good job to cut through a couple of layers there. Matthias Binder back for Deion Cox. Hassani Dotson now. Cross field ball for Isma Fernandez. Instead of Thielke, he finds Moon, and now it's Jacob Thielke. Nick Moon again, and Moon and Thielke just playing catch here. Now Macchioni with the touch back to Mitch LeGros. Nick Moon's been a busy man tonight, occupying a lot of space. Macchioni drifting back almost to the halfway line. And he'll slowly make his way toward the box again. Gets it from Thielke, plays it for Dotson, and now back to LeGros. Another brief touch from Macchioni, and now back for Peter Prescott. Prescott, who just a couple of moments ago did put the ball in the back of the net with his head, but was just offside. Matthias Binder for Cox and Prescott. 44th minute. Don't imagine we'll have too much in the way of stoppage time. Not just much sense in it. Great cross from Thielke, and it was dangerous, but there was no one there. Now Nick Moon towards Mitch LeGros. LeGros, Moon tried to give and go with number 4. That's Mitch LeGros. 44th minute, 4-0. Scorse's goal kick was headed forward by Cox. And then controlled by Nick Moon. Now they played at the back. Jacob Thielke controlling it for Mitch LeGros. Macchioni, now Thielke wide again. Thielke forward foot, Isma Fernandez. Great ball from Isma. Back to Jacob Thielke, whose first time shot hits the side netting. What a ball that was. What a pass from Isma Fernandez. Technically as skilled as they come in PDL play, Isma Fernandez. Yamas. Yamas looking for Isma Fernandez, and not quite able to keep it alive. Just a little bit too much mustard on it.
A couple of hooligans in your midst.
Half and half. Go get me a beer.
We're in to first half stoppage time. And we are through first half stoppage time. 45 minutes in the books. Wayne United doing what we would expect Lang United to do in a game like this, but we've had entertaining play, it has to be said, from Berliner Weisse. They've challenged a couple of times, and that will do it for the first half. We're going to take a quick break, get ourselves hydrated, and be back with you for the second half of play. Don't you go anywhere.
For you and then for
Hey, Greg. Is this audio on the camera? Can people hear me if I'm talking?
No.
Okay.
You're on.
Just about set. Looks like Lane United, anyway, is just about set for the second half. Still more than 11 on the pitch for Berliner Weisse. Maybe that's one solution for him. We'll see. We've already got a couple of substitutions. You can see out there for Lane United. Joe Corner into the game. He's wearing number 25. Looks like he's replacing Yamas. So we also saw number 26 out there. That's Buzas. And I think it's just those two for Lane United. So again, Joe Corner on for Rafa Yamas. And Joel Reedstrand also on. So Corner on, Buzas on, Reedstrand on, Prescott off, Yamas off, and we'll seek. Looks like it's Nick Moon that was replaced, and Isma Fernandez goes down, and gonna be another penalty coming up. Well, Prescott's still out there, so we'll have to see exactly what our subs were, but Anthony Macchione is going to get a chance for the hat trick. Yep, Prescott is still up there, so maybe it was Legros that was replaced, as Macchione, in fact, does complete the hat trick less than a minute into this second half. So the goals for Lane United: Macchione in the 7th, 30th, and 46th. Llamas in the 29th, and Isma Fernandez in the 33rd. To round out 5 for Lane United, and yeah, it is Peter Prescott playing up in a quasi-forward role. Joe Corner plays that back for Buzas to Ben Willis. Ben Willis's clearance. Prescott chests it down, and Hassani Dotson pushed it forward. Referee nearly with a touch. Good job to avoid it, or at least not impact it. It may still have clipped him, but it doesn't really matter. Hassani Dotson, and well, it wasn't Legros that came off, because there's Legros turned his back. Chance perhaps for Berliner Weisse, and I think it was Bender was the other one who left the pitch for Lane United. Joe Corner to Isma back for Reedstrand. Colin Shub-Fertal to Dion Jones. And onside, first real chance, and they score for Berliner Weisse. It's the number 9, it's Zach Lazar, sneaking in behind the defense and getting his squad on the board. Still had to do the hard bit and still had to finish it off. But Lazar was able to sneak in and had a pretty long breakaway for that one. Not the goals you'd like to give up. Chasing this one down and turning on the Jets was Ryan Trutner. But always second favorite to it, and it's out for a goal kick. I thank you all for spending a part of your Saturday nights with us. We've got one more broadcast left this season. That will be a PDL game against the Timbers U23s, and while it won't have playoff implications for the Reds, that may actually have a large say in deciding the division as that shot goes wide. I don't think it was knocked away. As we said, with the Timber U23s will be our final broadcast. They are currently just back of Calgary, or actually they played them already, so they may have leapfrogged them. I'm not sure what that result was. If they didn't play today, they're playing right now. 2 games between the division leaders this weekend up in Salem. Calgary looking to make what would be their second consecutive deep run into the national tournament for the PDL. Runners up last season were the Highlanders, doing the Foothills rather, doing the Northwest Division proud. Macchione, quick touch now to Isma, and then Lazar took it away for Berliner Weisse, just as quickly taken back by Len United. Now Joel Reedstrand chipping it forward and not quite able to come off for Isma, but right back for Reedstrand and then to Hassani Dotson, and he thought about pushing forward. Instead, he'll slow himself up and move to the back. Now Isma Fernandez, casual back heel there from Isma. Now Peter Prescott. Look out, Peter Prescott now. Isma Fernandez, foot through it. Back of the net. Number 2 for Isma Fernandez. The 6th of the day for Lane United, and we're running out of room on our sheet here to write them all down. Not much in the way of celebrations from Lane United. I think that's a product of it being their 6th goal in 51 minutes. And you don't want them to slow down just because you say, well, there's not much to celebrate. At the same time, you expect Lane United to keep the foot down, and I think the Berliner Weisse players, they're all competitors out there. They probably wouldn't have it any other way. There's no point in playing in this game if you're not going to get the Reds' best. Reedstrand tries to win that forward, knocks it for Isma. Now for Macchione. Macchione looking for 4, he's got it. 7th of the game for Lane United. The 7-1 score matches the high point for the season. Reds scored in the 29th, 30th, and 33rd, also the 49th, 52nd, and 53rd. So they're coming in bunches for the Reds tonight. You might see your scoreboard on the broadcast jumping up by more than one at a time. Greg can only work so fast. And 7-1 is our score. Hang in there, Greg. Jacob Thielke streaking down the wing, couldn't get to that one in time. Berliner Weisse. Mitch LeGros. Moves us back to Ben Willis, who's got something to do for maybe the first time in the second half. Corner chasing that one down, and we got a change in goal. Just picking up on for Berliner Weisse, Eric Johnson between the sticks now. That was probably a halftime switch for them. Prescott plays that back for Hassani Dotson, so it looks like Hassani Dotson has slipped back into the spot that Peter Prescott was as a center back, as Prescott himself is now moving forward, and Isma Fernandez nearly played it perfectly to him. Just didn't quite react in the right moment. Mitch LeGros facing Ben Willis, and he'll play it in that direction in the 55th minute. 7-1 game. Joel Reedstrand. Turning forward now for Isma Fernandez. Again, captain Isma Fernandez today. And a little bit too much isolation. Trying to take the ball away from Cody Walkup as quickly as Walkup had taken it away from him was Isma, but Berliner Weisse doing a good job of working it to the perimeter and then back to their own goal. But now Hassani Dotson's header gets it to Mitch LeGros, and the Reds able to attack again. Joel Reedstrand. Isma Fernandez back to Reedstrand, back to Isma, and slid away from him. Gio Brugola forward. And Mitch LeGros chasing that one down, as was Colin Schubvertal, but it was into touch. LeGros watches it go harmlessly out. And after these subs, it's going to be the Reds' throw. Jacob Thielke's night is done. He's replaced by Kyle Smith. And Hernan Ramos also entering for Lane United. Now here's Berliner Weisse. Joel Reedstrand. Macchione. Dion Cox. Forward for Peter Prescott. Prescott's got Joe Corner available, but he's going to keep it himself and shoots on goal. And well done, saved Eric Johnson. Forward for Reedstrand again. Peter Prescott now. Prescott into the box, and the shot just up and over. Approaching the hour mark. Normally about substitution o'clock, but we've seen rotations made already. Still, we'd expect more to come. Maybe not, actually. Only John Stadler available still on the bench for Lane United. Outside of that, they've used all their options, so we may still see Stadler, but he may just get the night off too. Chubb for Tall on the ball for Berliner Weisse, then he knocks it centrally to Valenzuela for Gio Brigola. Brigola pulls it back, knocks it forward, and Brigola's a fun little player. Moves around with a lot of speed. And he's been probably the biggest bright spot offensively for Berliner Weisse outside of Lazar's goal. Taking their time with it is Lane United. Ramos. Switching towards Joe Corner. But going the other way with it is Trutner. Trutner, who's been another name we've been fond of calling tonight for Berliner Weisse. Great ball skills in his own right and great pace in his own right. But now it's Reedstrand for Lane United to Hassani Dotson. Still pressing forward, trying to get by Dotson. Couldn't do it, and Weisse take the ball back. Throw in for Berliner Weisse and peeled off by Lane United. Hassani Dotson back for Ramos. Now Eastman Fernandez. Fernandez as Lane United look to break in formation here, but the ball wasn't at Peter Prescott's feet. Now Reedstrand. Back to Joel Reedstrand. Joe Corner on the wing. Corner to Prescott. Giving go with Macchione. That was Prescott again. Dotson knocks that one over his own head, but not able to control it for Lane United. Taken by Raul Ochoa. Past the hour mark here, and the goals have been fast and furious. On a normal day, we may even be looking at a man advantage for the Reds. But not much of a normal day today. It's a great opportunity for these Berliner Weisse players to play at an exceptionally high level of opponent. Some of them in their own rights may wear a Lane United shirt before their playing careers are over. Hassani Dotson on the ball back out wide for Smith. Misplay from Reedstrand, but Dotson dives in, got it back to Joel, and then Joel just surrounded, has to play, or losing it rather. Berliner Weisse into touch and a throw in for Lane United. At the back for Lane United. 63rd minute. I hope that when our camera pans to the half of the field with the scoreboard on the south end, we'll get to that in a minute. Here's Macchione. Macchione beating the keeper. That's 5 for Anthony Macchione, a busy man today. Maybe we'll talk to Anthony after this game. 5 goals, I think that's a podium game. You do, to some extent, throw out the stats in friendlies, but I can't recall, and I've seen more Lane United games than I've missed. I can't recall someone scoring 5 times, even in a friendly. Maybe pushing the limits of the in-house scoreboard. Kyle Smith forward for Macchione. Joel Reedstrand. Back for Dion Cox. Isma. Reedstrand again. Hassani Dotson to Macchione. Prescott trying to play that forward. Deion Jones blocked it, but it comes back for Lane United, and the Reds attacking again. Peter Prescott. Shot didn't come through cleanly, and Prigola on the ball again for Berliner Weisse very momentarily as the Reds get it right back. Sambuzas to Kyle Smith. And Hernan Ramos in the middle. Isma Fernandez to Peter Prescott. Forward and trying to get it towards Macchione again. Hernan Ramos. That ball go out off of the Reds. Throw in for Berliner Weisse. Substitution coming, and we will see John Stadler. And Macchione will not collect his 6th goal, as he is the one who exits for John Stadler. And Stadler, based on where he's standing right now, is going to play in the attack. So just your old Lane United attacking duo of Peter Prescott and John Stadler. Everyone knows attackers always wear numbers 2 and 3. Very traditional. As Dion Cox at the back now for Lane United. Right behind that scoreboard is the biggest moon you have ever seen. A beautiful night here in the Willamette Valley. Temperature right around 85 at kickoff, but dropped much more comfortable figures now. And a little bit in the second half, the wind starting to pick up behind us, as it always does. It's certainly a record, as longest it's taken us to mention wind. One. Attacking for Berliner Weisse is Justin Bailey. Bailey had it hit him in the back, but was able to turn around and collect the ball. Isma Fernandez is spun around, and he actually was the one who grabbed the hold of Alex Engstrom. So foul goes against Isma, and quick restart. Berliner Weisse not on the same page. 68th minute. 9 goals between the two teams, but Lane United have not been sharing those goals. They have 8 of them. 1 goal given up on a poor giveaway and breakaway at goal. Now Joe Corner. Corner jumps up to keep that one in. Nope, not in play. Now it's a Lane United throw in though. Sonny Dotson. Reed Strand. Stadler. Reds on it again. Pushing forward again is Lane United now. Peter Prescott wide for corner. First time shot is too high. It opened up for number 25 there. Joe Corner, a player we haven't seen too much of this season, a Salem native out of Gonzaga. Listed at 5'6", 150. Chance for Lane United, holding on to it in the center circle. Now Isma Fernandez forward for Prescott. Here's Peter Prescott. He gets the chance for the shot. And number 9. Number 9. Number 9 belongs to Peter Prescott. '71st minute. Lane United threatening double digits. Headed down by Smith. Going to be a Berliner Weisse throw, though, as Red couldn't keep that one in touch and play. So stick around with us after the match. Inaki's not here, but we'll still bring you something from the field. There's a chance for Berliner Weisse, their best shot of the game. They did score once, but not as challenging a shot as that was, and good job from Ben Willis to stay alert. That was it's a difficult save, really. Alex Engstrom's shot will force a corner for Berliner Weisse. That corner comes in. Rigola, good height on it. Headed away by Lane United, but only as far as the back line for Berliner Weisse. Then Dion Jones out to the edge of the box, and then a long, we'll call it a shot, goes wide. We'll bring you something from the field after the game. Try and get maybe Anthony Macchione and John Gallus, maybe we'll try to talk to Colin Shubfertal as well. See if we can grab one of the recognizable names for Berliner Weisse. Reed Strand on the ball for Lane United. Hernan Ramos. Ramos wide for corner. Will it get there? It does. Corner, Brigola working on him, and will go out, in fact, for a goal kick. '74th minute, just about a quarter of an hour left, and really would not expect much stoppage time. We're taking our time with it as it goes. Isma Fernandez controls it, knocks it forward for Joe Corner. Corner. Back to Isma. Isma beats a couple and then wide back for Joe Corner. Reedstrand. Still the Reds. Now Joe Corner. Dion Cox circling behind him, but Corner plays it across. Now John Stadler at the top of the box. Dion Cox with a shot, but right at the goalkeeper. Everyone trying to join the scoring party for Lane United. An unfortunate bounce there for Berliner Weisse. Kate O'Connor nearly could have walked in, but had to take a weird bounce off him. Now it's Lane United with the shot through Hernan Ramos. A lot of mustard on that one, and it goes over the cage. 75th minute. We'll take you through the 10 goals one more time. Anthony Macchioni got us started in the 7th minute. Rafa Llamas, 29th. Macchioni again in the 30th. Isma Fernandez in the 33rd. Macchioni a third time in the 46th. Then Zach Lazar with the one Berliner Weisse goal in the 49th. Isma again in the 52nd. Macchioni again in the 53rd. Macchioni again in the 64th. And then Peter Prescott made it 9-1 in the 72nd minute. And that's where we are to now. Total. 9-1. '76th minute. Nine to 1 as Prescott heads that one down. Gio Brigola. Brigola again has been a great performer for Berliner Weisse. Isma Fernandez tried to clear that one forward, but knocked down by the guests, and they get an opportunity, chesting that one down. Justin Bailey, and into touch. It will be a throw in for Bailey, though, as he picks it up. Joe Corner able to close the gap, take it away for the Reds. They're threatening double digits, and is this the play? Prescott forward, and deflected out. Corner coming up. '78th minute. Taking the time with the corner. Now into the box. Prescott heads it across for Stadler. Joe Corner at the edge of the box, and now just knocked 60 yards down the pitch for Berliner Weisse, and not able to get around Hassani Dotson was Daniel Kruger. Stadler's long ball. Options in the middle of the box. Can it come back for Isma Fernandez? He does control it. He dribbles it around a little bit, chests it to himself. Hernan Ramos will knock it forward. Back for Isma, who tries to play it to himself. But goes wide. Yzma does have 2 goals to his name, and he could have about 4, but he's made some really unselfish plays, set up some of the goals, and was telling the guys up here in our press box that my favorite play of the first half was back on focus here. My favorite play of the first half was an Yzma Fernandez pass that actually didn't lead to a goal, playing for Jacob Filke, and was a real nifty pass. Those of you that may need the explanation for that, our media area at the Les Schwab Sports Park is a storage container behind the stands, so it is as literal of a press box as it gets. Here is Joe Corner turning on the Jets. Now Prescott. Dion Cox and Hassani Dotson. Reedstrand. Getting it back is Yoel Reedstrand. And still Reedstrand. Yzma to Dotson and Giesu, Joel Reedstrand again. Into the last 10 minutes. Hassani Dotson. Now Ramos. Hernan Ramos. Still with it is Ramos. Now he finds Dion Cox on the far side. Back for corner, but not to be. Taken away Berliner Weisse. '81st. Yoel Reedstrand. Yzma Fernandez turns and could give and go to get it back to Yzma, and not quite able to set up the chance, but Red's still with the ball. Hernan Ramos for Prescott, then back to Dotson. Now wide again. It falls for Yzma. Yzma controls it. Then he tried to play wide. I think Reedstrand stepping over that intentionally, but there was no one to collect it. 82nd minute. Gio Brigola. Brigola waits for corner to come at him, then he turns the Jets on again. Now tries to get by Dion Cox, and just too much individual. And one of the very much bright spots for Berliner Weisse. Reds will switch the play deep in their own half, and now they turn to look up the pitch. Yzma Fernandez, beautifully weighted ball. Peter Prescott chests it down. Prescott still with it, and Prescott has pocketed another one for Lane United. Double digits officially reached. Subdued celebration still from the Reds in the 83rd minute. Peter Prescott, the center back, with his second goal of the game, and it really could have been his third. It'd be really interesting to talk to John and these Lane United players after the game and get their thoughts, because it's easy to sit up here as a broadcaster, as a fan, and say, well, they scored 10 goals, everything must have gone perfectly, but the word perfect is usually not in the vocabulary of coaches. Sure, there will be plenty that John saw that he liked in this game, and I'm sure there will be things that he saw that he wasn't as big of a fan of. One thing is for sure, cannot expect the Reds to put up double digits against the Timbers when they conclude their PDL season. But this was always going to be about celebrating local talent and having a good time as a community. This was always the intent for this game. Edge of the box. Now into the box is Lane United, looking for 11. And Eric Johnson gets his paws on that one, and now will just throw it out. Long ball for Berliner Weisse at the edge of the box. They've got a chance to respond. Ben Willis needs to leap for that one and couldn't handle it cleanly, but he's able to still pounce on it and then just distribute up towards Joe Corner. Corner now lays it forward for Prescott. Prescott, Hernan Ramos, and Isma Fernandez. Isma Fernandez, great ball wide. Now back to Reed Strand. Prescott with a chance for another, and that time Cunningham is not Eric Johnson rather is not interested. Berliner Weisse playing forward, but too quickly for their own speeds there. That'll roll toward the Red Aces, and Ben Willis collects it to take the goal kick. Anthony Macchione has got 5, and that's only half of them for Lane United. Hassani Dotson. Dotson got the start tonight, and he's sort of moved around a little bit as other players have come on. Long ball towards Joe Corner, kept alive. Knocking it across for Ramos, but his first time deflection towards goal goes just wide. Foul goes against the Reds there in the 87th minute. All done but the paperwork now. Hassani Dotson to Smith. Now Isma again, and now it's Ramos again. And wide for Berliner Weisse. Deflected into touch. Berliner Weisse with the throw, 88th minute. As day becomes night in the Willamette Valley. Kyle Smith gets to it for Lane United, has to do a bit of work to get out of danger, finds Hassani Dotson, and Dotson doesn't have an easy time of it, but it's deflected into touch by Berliner Weisse for a Reds throw-in. Last couple of moments. Joe Corner. Chance for the Reds to turn in transition. Still trying to play with some paces, Lane United. Peter Prescott chases that one down, and here come the Reds. Prescott crossing there and always fading back toward Eric Johnson. comes Berliner Weisse. A shot on goal and goes just wide of Ben Willis. He'll get us restarted very quickly. 89th minute. Joe Corner. Corner across the halfway line for Stadler. John Stadler, the forward. Not an everyday set of words we string together. Hernan Ramos. Here's Dion Cox for Joe Corner. Into the last 45 seconds or so of regulation. Here's Joe Corner. Corner is still with it and poked away from him at the last moment, but only gets as far as John Stadler. Stadler playing it out to the wing. One more cross into the box. Chested down by Ismo. Fires and hey, there's a great save out of Eric Johnson and a great reaction from this crowd too. Lane United faithful on hand today. They know what this game is about, and they're all about supporting both teams. Trying to catch Willis off his line was Dion Jones. Ben's got to go run back almost to the baseball field to collect that ball. Into second half stoppage time, and there is 3 blasts on the whistle. That will do it for us tonight. A final score of 10-1 for Lane United. One last time, let's run down all of those goals. Anthony Macchione got us started with the first of his not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 goals. In the 7th minute, Rafa Llamas made it 2-0, but not until the 29th minute, but then the floodgates really opened. Macchione scoring again in the 30th minute. Isma Fernandez on the PK in the 33rd minute. Macchione again, another PK in the 46th minute. The 1 goal for Berliner Weisse, the 49th minute marker from Lazar. Then Isma again in the 52nd minute. Macchione again in the 53rd minute. Also in the 64th minute, and that rounded out the 5 for Macchione. And then the last 2 goals of the night, numbers 9 and 10, came in the 71st and 83rd minute from Peter Prescott. So we're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to run down to the field and see who we can grab. Don't you go anywhere.
I think I'll be able to not tomorrow, but
No, actually, sophomore year. On the PK, yeah, photo. Poor So I don't care.
struggling this year to find the back of the net. So
hold on one second. Are we good with the sound? Okay.
Okay. I mean, it felt pretty good. You know, I've been struggling so far this season to find the back of the net in terms of the PDL game. So it felt good to finally find the net and kind of get my legs back under me again. So.
What do you learn about your team in a game like this, where it's maybe a different level of competition, but you can do different things?
It's always a good exercise because, you know, you can move the ball and you have more time on the ball. You have time to experiment with things. You can start to form connections with other teammates. It's a very good experience for the team, you know what I mean? Because the extra space helps us get more confidence going into the rest of our games. So.
And as we wind down the season, one friendly left on the road, one big game back with the Timbers U23s at home. What's the goal going into particularly that last Timbers game and finishing the season on a high note?
We definitely want to finish the season on a high note. We want to go into both these games with a high intensity, and we really want to take it very seriously, you know, and it'd be great to finish the season with 2 wins. So that's very much what we're focused on at this point. So.
All righty, well, thank you so much. Great game.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, you guys hear us?
Thank you, sir.
All righty, so joined by John Gallus. We know in these friendlies it's not necessarily about the score, about the result, more about what you can sort of look at and watch and learn from your team. So that said, what did you learn from the boys tonight?
Well, obviously we got guys some minutes. You know, Kyle Smith, Joe Corner, who's coming off of mono that hadn't played a ton for us. We got Hernan Ramos in. Hassani had missed a week, so we got him, 90 minutes. It was more about that, and then obviously keeping some guys in rhythm, and played Peter up top for half the game. So again, it's just maintaining confidence, maintaining a good rhythm, and keeping our fitness levels up for these guys.
And you satisfied with the effort you saw from the boys tonight?
Absolutely, absolutely. To be honest, I was surprised by the scoreline, and that's not to be disrespectful to that group. I thought, player for player, they're good. They have talent on that group. Obviously, we capitalized on a couple mistakes, but we moved the ball around really well tonight, and that's what I was happy with.
And some little bit of local young talent on that group. Is there anybody on the Berliner Weisse side that particularly caught your eye?
Well, we just know a lot about them. I mean, obviously, Cade O'Connor came in. Bailey, we've coached at Lane Community College. I mean, Chris Mackey, Detective Chris Mackey. We know a lot of Zach Lazar. I mean, these are all guys that either grew up playing here or are currently playing here through the system. And, Kesey, plays local city league. We know a ton about these guys, and they're all good players. And, obviously, it's great to do something like this in our community. Obviously, supporting Oakshire and their Berliner Weisse, and, to get some of the best talent in the area together to play a game in front of our fans is great. And it was nice to see, Baby Chubbs, get out, and as he's off to the Redlands in the fall, to see him play in this environment, and it was good for him.
And as we're turning the corner, finishing up the season here, what's the message in training going into that last Timbers game?
Win. We want to win. Obviously, Timbers have a game against Calgary tomorrow. There's a lot at stake for both teams, and if we can play spoiler in any capacity, we will. I want to send these guys off with the most points in program history and a win. So they have Sunday, Monday off. We're back at it Tuesday, friendly, on the 12th, and then we prepare for Timbers. And we want to win both games and finish on a high note. And the commitment level and the dedication from these guys all season has been wonderful, so I don't expect that to slip up at all.
All righty, well, thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, so that's going to do it for us tonight. A 10-1 win for Lane United over Berliner Weisse. Thank you all so much for joining us, and have a great night.